The first modern Olympic Games was held in Athens in 1896, but the Paralympics had a very different start. This is the Stoke Mandeville Stadium, birthplace of the Paralympic Games. It is also here that the International Stoke Mandeville Games took place in parallel with the Olympics before officially joining the Olympic Games for the first time in Rome in 1960. The idea of a parallel games, initially for war veterans recovering from spinal injuries, was the vision of Dr Ludwig Guttmann, a neurosurgeon working at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. Stripped of his ability to practice medicine in Germany, his incredible story is told in the artifacts and memorabilia kept here, including this letter from the Nazi government, his early medical slides, and collections of medals.
He came to this country as a German Jewish refugee, arriving here in 1939 with his young family, and he was invited by the government to set up the spinal unit in preparation for the D-Day landings.
Dr. Guttmann saw how sport was influencing the rehabilitation of his patients. Inspired by the Olympics, he organized games for 16 wheelchair athletes, 14 men and 2 women, to coincide with the opening of the London Games in 1948.
Guttmann's vision was to host the games, in the same place in the same year when the Olympics were held, and it grew and grew. 1952, some Dutch veterans came across and started the first international Stoke Mandeville Games, and then, by the 9th Stoke Mandeville Games, it ended up being in Rome.
The Games were still often referred to as the International Stoke Mandeville Games up until 1984, when they returned here after funding issues meant they couldn't be held in America.
It made a big impact. Local people volunteered their gardens, their homes to host the competitors, and the opening ceremony was in fact opened by Prince Charles.
The Paralympic Games have now been held in the same city and venues as the Olympic Games since 1988 in Seoul and 1992 in Albertville. Beyond the Olympics, the legacy of Dr. Guttmann continues here at the sports centre bearing his name.
It's not a landmark place like Mount Olympus, but what happened here is possibly more remarkable of changing society and how society viewed disability.
For those who cannot visit in person, you can access the history of Stoke Mandeville anytime through its online museum. Jen Copestake, CGTN, Stoke Mandeville.